Good evening, everyone. Welcome to NTD Tonight. I'm David Zhang. Here is a preview of some of today's top stories. Congress grilled 5 social media companies over child exploitation allegations on their platforms. Emotions ran high as CEOs testified. eBay is set to pay millions for allegedly violating the Controlled Substances Act. More on what was being sold on the platform. Hundreds arrested in Southern California in connection to human trafficking rings. Officers share details of their week-long operation. First up, the space shuttle Endeavour has completed 25 missions into space. Now its final mission is to tower over Los Angeles. NTD's Christina Corona has more on the story.
The California Science Center hoisted the Endeavour space shuttle into place, positioning it alongside 2 booster rockets and an external fuel tank Monday. The operation started at 9:30 p.m. and lasted over 9.5 hours. The space shuttle Endeavour is 122 feet long, weighs 178,000 pounds, and has a wingspan of 78 feet. This space shuttle will become a part of an upcoming exhibition within the Samuel Ocean Air and Space Center, an expansion project at the California Science Center. The Endeavour is the first spacecraft in the world to be displayed in the launch position. Christina Corona, NTD News, California.
Now let's take a look at other top headlines. Emotions run high at the U.S. Capitol hearing today on online child sexual exploitation.
These results may contain images of child sexual abuse, and then you gave users 2 choices. Get resources or see results anyway. Mr. Zuckerberg, what the hell were you thinking?
CEOs of 5 social media companies, including Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, and Snap, were grilled for hours by the Senate Judiciary Committee about the potential harms of their products on teens.
Meta's Instagram helped connect and promote a network of pedophiles. Snapchat's disappearing messages have been co-opted by criminals who financially extort young victims. TikTok has become a, quote, platform of choice for predators to access, engage, and groom children for abuse.
The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children reported over 100,000 cyber tips per day about child sexual abuse material in 2023. More than a dozen children have died by suicide after becoming victims of financial sextortion by online predators.
When a Boeing plane lost a door in mid-flight several weeks ago, nobody questioned the decision to ground a fleet of over 700 planes. So why aren't we taking the same type of decisive action on the danger of these platforms when we know these kids are dying?
Following prodding from Senator Josh Hawley, Meta CEO Zuckerberg stands to apologize to the families in the hearing room, saying he was sorry for the things their families have suffered. Zuckerberg says there is no causal link between social media and worse mental health.
Mental health is a complex issue, and the existing body of scientific work has not shown a causal link between using social media and young people having worse mental health outcomes.
He added that Meta would continue to monitor research and use it to inform the company's roadmap. TikTok CEO Shou Chu was also grilled several times on the company's connection to China by its parent company ByteDance and the amount of access and influence the platform grants to the Chinese government.
Your app ought to be banned in the United States of America for the security of this country.
In a separate congressional hearing, FBI Director Christopher Wray echoed similar sentiments. He warned that the Chinese hackers backed by the Chinese Communist Party are preparing to wreak havoc on American citizens and communities.
Just this morning, we announced an operation where we and our partners identified hundreds of routers that had been taken over by the PRC state-sponsored hacking group known as Volt Typhoon. The Volt Typhoon malware enabled China to hide, among other things, pre-operational reconnaissance and network exploitation against critical infrastructure like our communications, energy, transportation, and water sectors.
Ray said that the hacking group funded by the CCP is intended to find and prepare to destroy or degrade the civilian critical infrastructure, leading to societal panic. And the U.S. counter-cyber forces are being severely outnumbered.
To quantify what we're up against, the PRC has a bigger hacking program than that of every major nation combined. In fact, if you took every single one of the FBI's cyber agents and intelligence analysts and focused them exclusively on the China threat, China's hackers would still outnumber FBI cyber personnel by at least 50 to 1.
Ray said any continued cyber defense should include the American public, a joint effort from both the government and the private sector to effectively protect against the potential Chinese threat. Hundreds of prisoners of war were exchanged today between Russia and Ukraine. Moscow and Kyiv announced 195 Russian and 195 Ukrainian soldiers were freed in the swap. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky added that 12 additional prisoners also returned to Ukraine. This comes just a week after a Russian plane carrying prisoners of war crashed, killing everyone on board. Moscow accused the Ukraine of shooting down the military transport plane carrying dozens of captured Ukrainian soldiers. Ukraine did not explicitly deny shooting down the Russian plane, but its intelligence accused Moscow of failing to notify Ukrainian authorities of the flight with POWs on board. Amid tension over Ukraine, Zelensky reportedly asked his most senior military commander, General Valery Zaluzhny, to step down on Monday, but Zaluzhny has since refused. Currently, it's unclear if Zelensky would dismiss the general and replace him. eBay is paying millions for allegedly violating the Controlled Substances Act. The company allowed equipment that could make illegal drugs to be sold online.
eBay has agreed to pay $59 million to resolve allegations that it violated the Controlled Substances Act, or CSA. According to the Department of Justice, the company allegedly sold thousands of pill presses and encapsulating machines through its website. Criminals can use pill presses and encapsulating machines to make illegal drugs. When used with a mold, stamp, or dye mimicking commonly prescribed controlled substances, pill presses are capable of producing counterfeit pills that appear indistinguishable from legitimate pharmaceutical drugs, including pills that are sometimes laced with fentanyl. The CSA regulates certain pharmaceutical manufacturing equipment to ensure that the machines are traceable and are not illegally obtained. eBay allegedly violated the CSA requirements by allowing such equipment to be sold. In a statement, U.S. Attorney Nicholas Kurist said, "Our investigation revealed that some of these machines were even sold to individuals who were later convicted of drug-related crimes." In addition to the monetary settlement, eBay has also agreed to enhance its compliance program to its prohibited and restricted items policy around sales of pill presses, counterfeit molds, stamps and dyes, and encapsulating machines.
The Los Angeles Sheriff's Department announced the arrests of hundreds of people caught during a week-long human trafficking operation. NTD's Christina Corona has more on the story.
Operation Reclaim and Rebuild is an annual coordinated statewide law enforcement effort to impact one of the most heinous crimes, the sexual exploitation of another human being for profit.
Let me be clear, human trafficking and child exploitation are devastating crimes that prey on some of the most vulnerable members of our community.
This year's operation took place between January 21st through January 27th.
54 adults were rescued. 11 children were rescued. 40 suspected traffickers and exploiters were arrested. 271 sex buyers were also arrested. In total, there were 539 criminal arrests made during this week-long operation.
Sheriff Luna shared a sex trafficking case where a juvenile was at the Parkway Plaza Mall in San Diego when she was approached.
When she was approached by an unknown male Hispanic who told her she should be a model. He presented her with a business card which read, "Hiring models for downtown gig, work for money," the girl called it. The number and the male told her that she would be doing date sex with guys in hotels.
She showed her mother the card, who reported it to the police department and resulted in the arrest of the human trafficker. The youngest victim rescued through Operation Reclaim and Rebuild this year was 14 years old. However, she had been trafficked since she was 13.
This week-long operation demonstrates that if you engage in human trafficking activities, harm our children, and destroy lives, there will be absolute consequences, and there is no refuge for predators in the state of California.
This operation is aimed at helping victims reclaim their freedom from sex trafficking, to provide them with the support and tools to rebuild their lives. To report trafficking activity, suspected trafficking activity, or trafficking victims, please contact the HSI tip line or the National Human Trafficking Hotline. Christina Corona, NTD News, California.
We'll take a short break now, everybody, but here's a look at what we have for you when we come back. Cursive returns to California grade school. Why our elementary students are now required to learn cursive handwriting. Broadway icon and two-time Tony Award winner Chita Rivera has passed away. We'll take a look at her acclaimed career. Do you drive in an older Toyota car? You may need to replace your airbags. Find out why and which models require the maintenance. Those stories and more coming up on NTD Tonight. Welcome back to NTD Tonight. I'm your host, David Zhang. A generation of children who embraced the illuminated screens for learning are now going old school. Starting this year, California grade school students are required to learn cursive handwriting.
Cursive is making a comeback in California. In an era of computers and tablets, the skill has fallen out of fashion. But a new state law requires students to learn the old school style of handwriting by the time they leave the 6th grade. At Orange Thrope Elementary School in Fullerton, California, students are practicing the flowy penmanship.
It's just fancy how to write, and it's just like fun to learn, like new letters.
6th grader Milo Chang says he thinks cursive is stretching his abilities.
I really think it helps with like my handwriting too, just like print, because if you're doing something harder, basically if you're doing an easier version of that, you'll probably get better at the easier version too.
The new law was sponsored by California Assembly member Sharon Quirk-Silva, a former elementary school teacher. She said she was inspired to introduce the bill after a chance encounter with former Governor Jerry Brown in 2016.
I was elected in 2012 and then lost in 2014, came back in 2016. And at that time, Governor Jerry Brown was the governor and invited a group of us to dinner. I happened to sit right next to him. And he said, "What do you do?" And I said, "I'm a teacher for elementary." And he said, "Right away, you need to bring back cursive writing."
The bill turned law requires handwriting instruction for grades 1 through 6, including cursive in the appropriate grade levels, generally considered to be 3rd grade and above. California's Common Core standards did technically still have cursive writing goals, but Quirk-Silva said instruction was patchy.
The hope of the legislation is that by the time students leave 6th grade, they would be able to read and write it.
Orange Thrope Elementary School teacher Pamela Keller says some of her students still need convincing.
A lot of my students will say, oh, it's too hard to write in cursive. And so we tell them, well, it's going to make you smarter. It's going to make some connections in your brain. It's going to help you move to the next level. And then they get excited because students want to be smarter. They want to learn. They want to be the top dog in the class. And so I think that's really exciting for them, to think that learning cursive is going to help them at some other level. And they get a little more excited about it.
Educators also say cursive can unlock a doorway to the past, giving students the ability to examine generations-old family letters or important historical documents.
The Constitution in our library, it's handwritten in cursive. So if you can't read those pieces of history without somebody translating it for you, I find that to be kind of sad too. So I just want my students to have that choice, to be able to open up that world for them.
Experts say learning cursive boosts cognitive development, reading comprehension, and fine motor skills.
Chita Rivera, legendary Broadway icon, two-time Tony winner, and trailblazer for Latina artists, passed away at 91 after an illustrious career. NTD's Stephanie Sikal reports.
Chita Rivera, the vibrant dancer, singer, and actress with 10 Tony nominations and 2 wins, passed away at 91. She led a remarkable Broadway career that paved the way for Latina artists. Her daughter, Lisa Mordente, announced her death, stating it followed a brief illness in New York. Rivera, known for her role as Anita in the 1957 West Side Story, continued dancing with her trademark energy even in 2015's The Visit. While performing in The Visit, she previously told the Associated Press this.
I danced from the age of 7, and so that's really been my life. And so I wouldn't know what to do if I wasn't moving or telling a story to you or singing a song or being a gypsy, or that's the spirit of my life. And I'm really so lucky to be able to do what I love.
Her life spirit, as she expressed, was in movement, storytelling, and singing. Rivera received the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2009 and 2013. She served as the marshal at the Puerto Rican Day Parade in New York City. Stephanie Sikal, NTD News.
Toyota is warning owners about exploding airbags in older vehicles. It said the material inside can deteriorate over time and cause dangerous situations.
Toyota and General Motors are telling the owners of about 61,000 older Corolla, Matrix, RAV4, and Pontiac Vibe models to stop driving them because their Takata airbag inflators are at risk of exploding. The urgent warning Monday covers certain Corolla compact cars and Matrix hatchbacks from the 2003 and 2004 model years, as well as the RAV4 small SUV from 2004 and 2005. Also covered are about 11,000 Pontiac Vibes from 2003 and 2004, which are essentially the same as the Matrix and were made at the same California factory. Most of the vehicles are in the U.S. In a statement, Toyota said if the airbag deploys, a part inside is more likely to explode and shoot sharp metal fragments, which could cause serious injury or death to the driver or passengers. Both companies said owners should contact a local dealer instead of driving the cars in for repairs. Dealers will provide options such as mobile repair, towing the car to a dealer, or vehicle pickup and delivery. Owners can go to nhtsa.gov/recalls and enter their 17-digit vehicle identification number to see if their cars are affected. Takata used volatile ammonium nitrate to create a small explosion to inflate airbags in a crash. But the chemical propellant can deteriorate over time when exposed to high temperatures and humidity. It can explode with too much force, blowing apart a metal canister and spewing shrapnel. At least 26 people have been killed in the U.S. by Takata inflators since May 2009. About 400 people have been injured. The exploding airbags sent Takata of Japan into bankruptcy. The potential for a dangerous malfunction led to the largest series of auto recalls in U.S. history. About 100 million inflators were recalled nationwide.
Let's go to sports, where 5 professional hockey players were ordered to turn themselves in. Here's NTD's Tyler Castillo with the details.
The London police have ordered 4 current NHL players and 1 former NHL player to turn themselves in. The players in question are facing sexual assault charges in connection to the investigation regarding the 2018 World Juniors of Team Canada. The 4 current players include Carter Hart of the Philadelphia Flyers, Michael McLeod and Cal Foote of the New Jersey Devils, and lastly, Dylan Dubé of the Calgary Flames. The former NHL player Alex Formenton has already turned himself in and is pleading not guilty. All players were part of the 2018 World Juniors Team Canada. When the London police announced orders for each player to surrender, they were immediately granted leave of absence from their respective teams. However, when the announcement came that certain players were taking a leave of absence, they were cited for unrelated reasons such as mental health. The London police plan to hold a press conference on February 5th about the investigation.
Stay tuned for China in Focus with Tiffany Meyer coming up next. And in more China news, a stern warning from the head of the FBI. Chinese hackers looking to target major U.S. infrastructures, from clean water and electrical grid to oil and natural gas pipelines. Plus, the Chinese hackers have outnumbered FBI's cyber resources. More details coming tonight at 9:30 on NTD's China in Focus with Tiffany Meyer. And that's all we've got for you tonight. We would like you to join us again on NTD Tonight every weekday at 9 p.m. I'm David Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.